Hey, I think we're on. Hey, welcome everyone. Excited to welcome everyone to another Theta Network AMA. For those who don't know, I'm Wes Lovett, Head of Strategy, coming live from Amsterdam, where it's a bit after midnight right now, and I'm joined by Mitch and JE, live from Theta HQ in San Jose. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
All right, so exciting day for us to be doing this. I'm sure everyone has seen, Bitcoin hit a new all-time high today. I mean, I'll take a Theta all-time high above that, but still, I think it's a great sign for the day for the AMA.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us, and I think we're going to jump right in because we got tons of really great questions from you guys collected over the last week or two. So we're really excited to jump in. And excuse me for my voice. I'm actually just lost my voice over the last week or two. There's too many things going on, but it's all good. So hopefully you guys can still hear me okay. And so maybe to kick it off, we'll start with probably the least asked question in the entire submission the last week or two. So we're going to get right to it, and it's probably the most important question that to us. And so being totally transparent with everyone. Obviously, the question, and this is coming directly from a user. If we go another AMA without a U.S. exchange announcement, I'm going to lose it.
I don't remember the name of who submitted that, but whoever it was, understand the feeling. So we are really excited that a U.S. exchange we are basically in the final stages with. The date has been set. Can't go into specifics beyond that, but it's in the very near future, and it is a go. So really excited that all this progress we've made in the U.S. market, major sports teams, universities, lots of folks all using Edgecloud now. We can also deliver access to U.S. users for Theta and TFuel finally. So yeah, really wish we could share more details, but that'll be coming very soon. And yeah, at long last, U.S. users will have access to Theta and TFuel.
Super excited, and wish we can share details, but of course we're on the NDA. But we're locking in marketing dates, budget, a bunch of things with the exchange. Also keep in mind, everyone, that this is our first U.S. exchange, not our last one. We are on track, and we have internal goal to be listed on every U.S. exchange. It's a matter of time. So we hear you guys, and hopefully this is the best news you're going to hear during this AMA. So for those of you not interested, you can just leave and and watch the recording. I'm kidding.
It may not be more exciting after this, but we're excited about it. The date is set. I tell you mark your calendars, but we can't say it is publicly. But yeah, like I said, we are a go. So yeah, I mean that's I think sets the stage for a lot of big marketing pushes we're doing as well. Another user, many users asked about what's the marketing plan going forward, or what's the plan or strategy to market more aggressively Theta technology. There's a lot of different angles we're looking at it. One benefit of providing AI services to a lot of these pro sports teams, esports teams, they have massive reach. So yeah, it's not like every time someone watches a football match and they see Theta on the pitch, they're going to run out and buy it. But it's building brand name and recognition. For example, with FC Seoul, when they see Theta branding on there, and then that's building up the Theta name in the market, then they see you've also partnered with major universities there. Then they see that a new AI startup in Korea is using Theta. It's all building on itself. And so our reach is getting bigger than ever. That's a big piece, and we're going to start using that as sort of like the flywheel to expand into other partners. And on the crypto side of it, you've probably seen we've engaged more with crypto KOLs this year. That's building up in a big way, and it's going to be even more so. So it's kind of two sides to it. We need to do our job in adoption of Edgecloud, but then we're also using that to new partners, new announcements to feed the interest to these marketing partners like the KOLs.
Yeah, and in terms of branding, we're also realizing that, particularly for in real life branding, that we're focusing on the Theta Network as opposed to Theta Edgecloud. Edgecloud is our product, is our platform, but it's really Theta Network. So that leads directly for any end users. For instance, in the Korea market, we're available. The two largest exchanges, both Bithumb and Upbit, then if they do a simple search for Theta Network, Theta and TFuel and TDrop are all listed there. And Korea happens to be a really strategic market for us. We've had some presence there for the last few years, but more recently with Zango, where we announced them as an enterprise validator. They're probably the leading go-to-market marketing firm in Korea, so we're collaborating with them very closely. You see FC Seoul, and a lot of the press coverage that we got from that was from a lot of collaboration with the team themselves and also Zango, our marketing partner. So we really see Korea as sort of an entry point for the entire Asia community. We do think that this next bull run and hopefully a lot of the money that's rotating from Bitcoin and from other sources as Bitcoin pushes hopefully $130,000 to $200,000. We want to be really well prepared for that. We see Korea market really pushing that the volume and the pricing, and we typically see Binance Global and soon enough the U.S. exchange probably following that, and we want to really leverage that and dovetail marketing with a lot of our partnership announcements. And we're excited about FC Seoul. They're the first foray into sort of the international football or soccer scene, but it's not our last. I can say that we have signed another very large deal, and it's one that I briefly referred to back in December at ThetaCon, but we're excited. We're about to lock in a date for that, and you guys are going to be excited. So that's going to be coming soon as well. Right now, if I were to share our marketing calendar with you guys, we've got announcements every single week going into July. So all the deals are lined up. They're being queued. In fact, we have possibly too many deals, and we like to queue them as much as we can, so that we have enough time for marketing and everything else we're doing to be able to process that. But yeah, we're really excited about a lot of the upcoming marketing. We have another question that was submitted a few days ago. Do you guys have a strategy for attracting, expanding enterprise validator partners? Our most recent one that we announced was Zango in Korea for the reasons I just talked about. But we are in conversations with a bunch of new partners, validator partners. But what we're looking at now is really more strategic partners who can serve not only as a validator partner, but also as a customer of our Edgecloud platform, our AI platform, our video platform, and becoming validator where they have skin in the game, and they're helping with the governance and the security of our layer 1 blockchain, and looking at how is a subchain rollout facilitates their particular business or their particular platform and usage. And then lastly, sort of the area that is very, very strategic for us, and you'll hear more details from us, is we're pushing really, really aggressively into both ticketing and merchandising, particularly around professional sports, esports. As you guys know, 90%, 60% of their revenues, majority of revenues, are driven by selling tickets, right, in person to see these events at the stadium, and also merchandising, particularly in the esports and the gaming space. So those are two really big areas. So we want to holistically sort of bring all those solutions together, and I think that the next validator partner that you'll see that we'll announce will have a few of those components. So we're really, really excited about that one, on top of their 1 million plus fans around the world. So we're really, really excited about that one. Moving on, another question submitted is Theta, is Theta partnering with the World Cup in 2026? We're hearing that the partner could be an English Premier League team. Is that true? So the exciting part about our business is that we're basically in touch and in conversations with just about every major sports team now, and they're all on our radar. And what's even more exciting, I think, is the fact that I really believe that we found the right product market fit. And when potential partners or customers are calling us, reaching reaching out to us, that is when you know that something's working. And it's just incredible to be able to see that kind of interest from a number of partners, because then we can be very selective and we can be very careful on the types of partners we bring on. And this includes, of course, a lot of the global football and soccer teams, right, at the club level. Now, we do know that that the World Cup is obviously probably the biggest live event in the world. I forget, but it's something like 4 billion people or 5 billion people around the world actually watch soccer or football. So it's going to be a huge splash in 2026. I think our strategy is to lock up partnerships and collaboration with some of the top clubs and teams leading into that. And I'll just leave the door open that if we have an opportunity to collaborate and make a really big splash at the World Cup in 26, we will do so. And we will absolutely leverage that. And as far as EPL, can't comment on that, but you guys will hear about that soon enough. Good. Next question. I think maybe Jay may be the best to answer this one. About the June Edgecloud release, how's it looking? What's the continued development plan? Will there be some usage metrics when that launches?
Yeah, great question. So I'm as excited as you guys about Edgecloud, the final milestone, right? So the community Edge node release in June 25th. So everything is going really well. Everything is on track. So I'll give you a quick demo, in the AMA, but let me give you some kind of high-level summary first, right? So this release will compose of a new Linux version binary, so which you can install with in command line on your Linux, either is your desktop machine or some server you run somewhere, right? So you can just type in some quick command to install the software and get it running, right? And also on June 25th, we are also going to release a Windows version, but this Windows version we will position as a alpha preview version, right? So that, but it's open, so everybody is welcome to download the software and then install it. But the Windows user, at the beginning, we will group them into a beta program, right? And then the purpose is to be able to for us to make sure the Windows version is working as stable as the Linux version, right? And soon after that, maybe after a few weeks, then as soon as we feel that we are confident that everything works well on the Windows platform, then we will also migrate this group of user to the production environment, right? So that either Linux provider and then or the Windows user, you can both join the network and be able to earn TFuel, right, from the jobs and deployments, right, onto your machine. So this is at a high level what's going to happen, right? And also regarding about the metrics, right? So one good news is that on your Linux machine, if you want to see what jobs and what deployment was running on your laptop, right? So you can type a simple command and we'll list out in the past day or a few weeks, right? So what are the recent jobs and then what are their earnings, right? So you have to update information about that. And then also we are thinking about not just at the micro level, but also at the macro level, kind of aggregated metrics, right? So after launch, we'll closely monitor the network growth and then also the job assigned to each node. And then I think soon after that, we'll be able to compile some kind of metrics, right? And be able to put it up somewhere so that a user can see the network growth. Yeah. That's the
I think another feature that we're also excited about is sort of the concept of the beginnings of a marketplace, sort of a bid and ask type of platform where you as a node operator, you can set some parameters or certain pricing in TFuel. And then on the other side, on the demand side, the partner could then say, look, we're a university, research team. We don't have a lot of budget, but we're willing to pay this much on a per hourly basis or on a per job basis or whatever unit basis. And then if you are within that range, then you are eligible to receive that job. And of course, vice versa, and so that eventually that will become a really interesting opportunity to really sort of balance supply and demand, and then ultimately, if we can build up the demand side, then then everyone's GPU hour or CPU hour, you can maximize the earnings in that way.
Right. Yeah, this is a really important concept that I'm going to demo it in a moment. Yes.
Perfect.
Right. And then the next question I think is also related to Edgecloud. So the question is that when purchasing desktop for Edgecloud, can we use this RTX 4070 and 4090 to serve as this edge nodes, or do we require a kind of a higher tier TI version, right? So the answer is that it's not necessary to be a higher TI version, right? So if you have a 4070 or 4090, then you're more than welcome to join the network, right? So, but of course, then Mitch just talked about supply and demand, right? So whenever our clients trying to use this GPU resources, they will be looking at the hardware spec, right? And then they will decide which one to use based on their need, right? So it will be a free market purely based on supply and demand. So yeah.
And it's not just limited to GPU either. We talked to a number of partners, right? Particularly in the AI, model training space, where they are looking for CPU. So being able to leverage CPU only for instance, on very mathematical types of problems, it's also something that we are beginning to see some demand for.
Yeah. With that said, though, so in the beginning we might have some requirement on the minimum hardware spec, right? So in the beginning it might be GPU only to start with. So, but hopefully after that there will be some release where we can expand the node to CPU also, right? So, but we want to in the beginning want to support the higher tier nodes because that will so based on our demand, right? So we know that that's the one that was getting requested the most. But of course, as the network grow and then we get more partners, more clients, then based on the need, that we will expand to more type of the machines. Yeah. Okay, so with that said, I think it's a good time to a good segue to the demo. So I'm going to share my desktop screen, and then we'll show you guys that how this new software looks like. Just give me 1 second here. Okay, so yeah, so I'm pulling up my this is the browser, so which shows the data Edgecloud, right? So so on this under this AI product, so if you guys are familiar with Edgecloud, then right, there's a lot of feature here. So there are the on-demand model API, so which we just launched a few weeks ago, right? There are the dedicated models, so which we launched since last May, and then there are the Jupyter Notebook and GPU node, right? And all of this, behind all this, that Edgecloud, the community node will be able to play very important roles under, behind each of these products. So, for example, for the on-demand model API, right? People can here, what they can do is that they can, let's say, for example, if they want to generate a image, right, from a prompt, they can click into it, right? And then here they can type in a prompt. For example, I want to generate a cat, right? And then on the right side here, right, you'll see in just a few seconds, right, a cat image is going to pop up right here. So really quickly, and also they can go to this API, right? If this is a developer, you want to integrate Edgecloud with this app, right? You can use the either through HTTP requests, or they can do it through JavaScript and Python, right? And then once we have the Edgecloud, the community node integrated into Edgecloud, so what happened will be that so anytime a user is using this API endpoint, there'll be a job being created and then be scheduled onto one of the node in the network, right? So it can be a node in the cloud, but it also can be a node operated by a community member, right? And then, as you might have noticed here on the top right here, so it says it has a price tag, right? For example, if you run this Flux, then so the user, whoever used this product, is going to pay 1 cent per image, right? So that let's say if your Edge node is happen to host a model for this request, then you'll be able to get a certain percentage, right, out of this payment, right? So, and the same thing goes for every model, right? So this is how Edge node, community operated Edge node will be integrated into this on-demand model API, this product, right? But some of the developers, they might not want to share this API endpoint with others, right? They may want to launch their own dedicated model. So what they're going to do is to just go to this dedicated model launchpad and then select one of the model they want to use. For example, they may want to use this instant ID, right? So once they click on that, they can select a node and then launch this model onto that node. So here in the new version of Edgecloud, you'll be able to see here has a selector called community nodes, right? Once you swipe it and then enable that, what you can see here from the drop down will be a set of community nodes, a list of community nodes that you can select from, right? So in our testing environment, we luckily have a few community members very supportive, being able to be volunteer to be our tester. So what you are seeing here is actually some of those are the machine actually supplied by one of our community members, right? A few of our community members. So this includes some of the 4070 machine and even 3090 machine and some of the high end, right? 4070 Ti machines here. So what I can do here is just select one of the machine and then click on deploy, right? And then you might notice here, there's a price tag here, but this is per hour, right? So not per job, but per hour. So which means that let's say if this developer used for 10 hours and the per hour price is like 13 cents, then he would need to pay $1.3, right, for the 10-hour usage, and you get a cut of that, right? So this is for the second product, right? And then this goes very similar for Jupyter Notebook, right? So consider a case where a university student, right, he wants to do a development AI model, and then he wants to do a quick experiment. He might want to launch a Jupyter Notebook, and then in this case, a similar thing that he can turn on the community node selector, and then here you can also see those machines, right? And then be able to launch that onto one machine and start using it, right? And the payment model here is very similar, is paid by time, right, per hour. So in this case, if you select this TI machine, then it's a bit more expensive, right? So if you use for 10 hours, you pay $3.2, and then a good percentage will go to whoever hosts this node. Right? So this is a Jupyter Notebook. And GPU so this is one of our most popular product, right? Especially for the university students, right? What we hear here is that we will have a customized UI dedicated to the community GPU. So we want to launch a GPU node, and then there's a tab here that says community GPUs. Once I click on it, you can see a dedicated UI for that. So you see the list of GPU node here, but we even add some more advanced filters and ordering columns here, so that you can, once we have, let's say, thousands of nodes, even 10,000 nodes, that you can imagine it will be pretty difficult to find, right, the CPU you need if you only have a one-dimensional list. But since we are adding all this filter, right, they can filter, for example, I only want RTX 4070. If I click on it, and then after a few seconds, so we will just filter whatever you need for you, right? Very similarly, so if you want to filter based on the VRAM size, right? Let's say I'm training a pretty advanced model which require like at least 16 gigabyte of VRAM. So here, so 7, and then let's say 12, right? So so whoever doesn't meet the standard, we got eliminated from the list. So you can select whatever is remaining, right? So, and then of course you can refresh it so that to reset all the criterion, and then all the machines will show, right? So once you select a machine, then the remainder is pretty similar to the current experiences. You just select a image you want to run, and then you paste in your public key, and then you're good to go from there, right? So this is on the front end. So what a client or a user of Edgecloud will see. But what happened on your desktop as a node operator, right? So let me switch to switch to my terminal here. So what is showing here is a RTX 4070 node, right? So here is a machine we have in the office, right? So we use for testing, right? So here is where, assuming you have Linux machine, right? This here is where you install the Edgecloud software and then be able to interact and see your payout and all that, right? So in order to install it, so we have this command. I think it's yeah. So it's pretty standard, right? So it's standard apt command, right? So you do the apt update and then just one line apt install and then only upgrade. And this is just for upgrade, but you know, if you install, just install Edgecloud. So maybe it take a few seconds or a minute depending on your network bandwidth. Then you install the software, right? So once that is installed, and then you just do a sudo Edgecloud start. So this Edgecloud software will run in the background and then ready to accept new jobs, right? So I've been running this node on this machine for a while. So my Edgecloud client has already accept a bunch of work, right? So let me show you how you can see those. So this is sudo Edgecloud and a status, right? So it might ask you for a password for the node because you're doing sudo. So okay, so we print a bunch of information here, but for example, what's your wallet address, right? This is the wallet created by this Edgecloud client automatically, and then so at the end of month, so the TFuel reward is going to this wallet address, right? So and then you can transfer it out to your other wallet. So below here, so there's a couple important lines in the status, this section. So for example, the status currently is connected to the Edgecloud, right? So then everything's good for me. So I can receive job, right? I can earn TFuel. So it also shows the current price per hour, right? So this is what Mitchell was talking about, is the free marketplace. You can set whatever price you want for your machine. So in the beginning, we'll recommend a price, right, based on your spec. But after that, after installation, you can feel free to change it to whatever. So I will show you how to do that in a moment. And after that, so what you see here is that the reward you get since the beginning of this month, right? So in this case, the total reward I got in this testing environment is $42, right? And then it has two categories. The first category is deployment reward. So deployment, just recall what I just demoed. So whenever someone start let's say Jupyter Notebook or GPU node or a dedicated deployment to your machine, then you start counting by time, right? So this is how much I earned in this past 2 weeks or so, right, from deployment. And then there's this job reward. So this job reward refers to the job from the on-demand API, right? For example, for this node, I think I got in a, I think it's today, right? Earlier today, so I got this stable diffusion, turbulent vision jobs, right? And each one, I was get paid by, I think it's 0.7 cents per job. But this accumulates, so right, if you have a hundred or even thousands of jobs per day, then this can go pretty high. And then come back to this deployment section. So what we are seeing here is that, just earlier today, there was a deployment of this Jupyter Notebook, right, onto my node. So which I can also give you a demo in a minute, right? So which earned me like 5 cents, 6 cents. But that's because you only use it for half an hour, right? Let's say if it's running a long job like some training for a day or two, then this could be much higher, right? So yeah, I think you can get the idea. So how to set the price? Remember what we have here is 10 cents, right? So whether I can set it to a different price. So if you don't know the command, just do sudo Edgecloud, and it will print out the available commands, right? Options. So to set the price, then you use this set. So Edgecloud set. And then if you don't know how to do that, just do help, right? It will say that I can set the price in the dollar amount, right? So let's say I will do set and then price. Let's say I reduce my price, right? And it will say that once I execute this price will be set to 0.09, it's like 9 cents per hour, and then maybe I will get more jobs because cheaper. And then I can verify that by doing the status again, and then you see here, right? This price got changed, right? So here, yeah. So next, I want to demo to you that if I'm going back to Edgecloud, then whether I can actually schedule a deployment, which is a Jupyter notebook, right, onto this node, right? And then let's see how we can achieve that, right? So now I'm coming back here, and then let's say I want to deploy a Jupyter notebook. Come here, start a notebook, and then remember to turn on this slider, this node slider. And here I know, yeah, I think this one, right? This one is my the node, the office node. So select on that, right? And then it sets up the price. If you remember earlier, so this one was 13 cents. That was because the original price was set to 10 cents, and then we charged some markup, right? The platform fee. But since I reduced to 9, so it's also reduced by 1 cent, right? So and then so what I can do here is that maybe I can name this notebook to test notebook 1, something like that, and then I select right this container image, right? I will recommend you guys to set a password, but for the shake a quick demo, I will set that. So okay, as you can see, we'll automatically navigate to this UI, which shows that I'm trying to launch a node, right? And will probably take, I think, a few minutes to get up and running. But let me switch back to this terminal and see anything change. So I do a status query, right? Since the deployment is ongoing, right, it's trying to schedule to this node, then so in this current deployment section, it still says that no deployment is currently running on this machine, but we'll see that hopefully it will change pretty soon. Yeah, but yeah, this is pretty.
This is all real time,
real-time
right?
demo. So I'm not sure it's going through or not, but I'm hoping so.
Right. And in real world use cases, this delay, if a university team is or any research team, right? With any customer, if they're deploying this, it's not an issue, right? If it takes a minute or two to spin up, but in this case, it's running through the scheduler through a bunch of different optimization logic to figure out and to then get that over to your particular node, your particular machine, wherever you happen to be around the world, right? And so it's going through all that.
Definitely not a trivial problem, right? So consider that the community node can be anywhere in the world, right? So yeah, it can be in North America here, but also can be other places, right? Very far from here, but so we have to be able to organize the resource around the globe, and then be able to make use of it, right? As we are talking, actually, it's come up pretty quickly, right? So now it says like the status is ready, so I can open the terminal, the Jupyter notebook. So click on it. This one takes also 30 seconds-ish to load, but for whoever have already used this Jupyter notebook, so it's all pretty familiar, right? So you can open the terminal here, and then you can type in NVIDIA SMI, so which will show the GPU of this node. So yeah. Oh, in this case, so this is mapped to actually not the node I was selecting, but it's the 3090. So it's actually some small bug in a selection of UI, but it's actually means that it's not mapping to a node in our office, but actually mapping to a node somewhere in one of our community volunteers.
I think it's a community node, right?
Right, the community volunteers node, right.
If you're watching us, you probably
you probably can check. Right.
You can probably go to a computer.
You can go to a computer and then type in this command studio status, and then you should see right in this current deployment.
So if I remember, I mean, some of our testers all over the world in Europe, somewhere in Europe, right? So it's very possible that this particular job got assigned, and all the metadata and everything else associated has already been pushed to your local machine. Yeah, exactly. So we'll download the container, and then I can so from this office here to connect to wherever this node is running, and then I can run this command. I can run Python, right? I can import PyTorch, and then start. Let's say I want to do training, whatever. So I can do it here, right? Yeah. So hopefully this one gives you an idea of how it works. So
right? So it's a free market, right? So you can set your own price, right? So and then on the other end, whoever use Edgecloud platform can select whichever machine they want, right, at whatever price, right? So it's kind of a matching.
It's absolutely stunning. I mean, we believe that this is really groundbreaking because really for the first time ever, the workflow and how AI researchers, train their models and everything that they do here through the dashboard interface is they're already familiar with it. I mean, the main things that we've abstracted, we made it so easy for them to pick a community node that's operated by you guys, by the community, and make it so easy that they can basically, based on certain criteria, and optimize, be able to push that through, and then they can either we talked to a lot of our professor at Stanford, right, told us that sometimes their jobs, they're looking for stable nodes where they can run their jobs for 5 days, 7 days straight, nonstop, and so that's really groundbreaking to be able to select a node, right, immediately from this interface.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then what was the thing is that they use it, they pay it in maybe in US dollar, but you guys will be able to receive in TFuel, right? So yeah. And then they get their job done, and then you got reward.
It's a great way of rewarding also the node operators that have always had great uptime and taken that seriously as part of their operation, running their nodes. I think then they're really going to get recognition for that when they start getting selected for jobs like this because of that. So for all these, they've been running dedicated edge nodes for a long time now. This is why you do it. It's going to be appreciated and rewarded by the partners.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this concludes the demo.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It really feels like this is maybe the most, or almost certainly the most involved that the community and node operators are going to be in the network and really actually be able to do the core work with data and what Edgecloud is. So it's a huge step. So shifting topics a little bit, one question we got a bunch of different from a bunch of different angles was questions about the incentives to hold Theta versus TFuel and how we view that, which is a complicated topic, but a pretty interesting one. We're somewhat, it's somewhat uncommon to have two native tokens as Theta does, and that's always created a little more complexity with that, and especially given that you earn TFuel for Theta. So you have two market traded assets. One of the more specific concerns I hear or questions or comments is that they notice that TFuel staking has a much higher yield, sometimes 5, 6, 7% depending on market versus Theta, which is staking Theta, which is something like 2% currently, I believe. And I think an important distinction that a lot of people don't realize is we don't actually set the rate for Theta because it's two assets that trade. It's really the market and the holders that determine what the yield is for Theta. Kind of topical for today, but it's sort of a myth that the government sets bond rates, but in reality, it's the market that sets those by supply and demand. And so I sometimes hear a subtext that's like, why don't you raise the yield for Theta? But one, we can, and two, you might argue that's would not be a good thing that happens. I mean, if anything, I think it's the other sort of the reverse of the issue is people have weighted Theta above TFuel. Maybe that's a brand name recognition or something that's a little more understandable to digest. But despite the difference in yields, it's actually Theta that's more in demand as a token. Maybe part of that's because it's still early in the adoption curve. But so as to the answer of which should you hold, what do you buy? I mean, I think it kind of depends on what you're looking at. I mean, if you're looking for, not to get too much into what sounds like investment advice, but just to make an analogy, yield, bond, dividend stocks, that kind of thing. You can see that TFuel has a higher yield. Theta feels to me a little more treated as a bet on the future adoption of the network. But of course, the other critical thing to point out is that a lot of people are now more and more users of the network as well. They want to use Edgecloud for AI services or to launch their own projects that they're going to be running, independent research or independent AI projects that they want to launch. And so if you expect to be a consumer of the product as well, then I would definitely say that's the strongest incentive on TFuel, is it's effectively, token is a good term to use because it's similar to directly buying tokens for ChatGPT. You're buying piece of future use of the network. But it won't go too much into financial advice on which is which, but it's just a couple of things important to point out. It's not so much a which is better situation. They serve different purposes, and it kind of depends on what you're thinking.
I mean, so that was, we also know that Theta and TFuel are easily exchangeable with each other, right? And we see a number of community members, right, that look at those exchange ratios, if you will, right, between the two as opportunities. And if, history is any bearing, remember back in 21, and this is not financial advice, obviously, but, you see that run up in the Theta price that's driven by adoption or utility branding, recognition partners. And then TFuel typically follows. And so, again, there's potentially some interesting opportunities there, right, as we go into this next bull market. Right, and let us not forget about TDrop. And I know a lot of you have asked about that as well, but we do have another question coming up about TDrop. But before we get to that question, there's also a question around what's the progress on the mobile nodes that we launched on the Android devices. You guys remember? Would there be any future updates on that?
Yes, great question. So this is a very important question as well, right? So we launched our mobile node a while ago, and then so the first release focusing on object detection, right, in the video and in images, right? So we are definitely looking into expand that, right, to be able to provide more utility, right? In particular, so we might look into whether it can host some of the smaller models like language models or others, right? And then potentially whether it's possible to integrate it into Edgecloud, right? So it can provide, for example, as an inference endpoint for the on-demand model inference product, right? So we're looking to different angles, right, to make it be more useful, and then hopefully, so there will be some you can bear some fruits, right? And then but in the summer, in the coming months, we will definitely continue to make improvement and be able to roll out new versions for this mobile edge.
And we know there's a lot of really advanced research where different groups are really optimizing and compressing these models so that they could run on these much lower power sort of long tail devices, not just mobile devices, but potentially, other IoT types of devices. And so this is really promising, and we leverage that. And it could even begin with some, initial generative AI types of, image generation is, of course, a lot less taxing from a computation standpoint than video generation. But even before image generation, there's other textual types of analysis, et cetera, where it could be effectively done. So anyway, we see mobile and these mobile devices that we launched last year really now coming into play as now our infrastructure for Edgecloud and our hybrid Edgecloud is coming into place. All this will kind of come together over the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, definitely. And don't forget, hardware will only get better, right? So at some point, so there you have, two forces, right, pushing this view forward. One is that Mitch just mentioned, the model getting smaller, right? Powerful model getting smaller, and the other is that the cell phone itself, mobile devices, IoT devices, they're getting more powerful, right? Yeah. At some point, there'll be some kind of cross section where you can run a powerful enough model on a cell phone or mobile devices, and so then
very exciting because I think we're just scratching the surface there, and there's a lot of opportunities moving forward as we bring the whole product roadmap together. Now, I want to jump back to the earlier we talked about Theta and TFuel. TDrop, a question about TDrop, how will be used, the current future sports partnerships. We hinted at that back at ThetaCon in Vegas in December. Happy to announce that we're making some really good progress in the design aspect of TDrop, but in conjunction with our customers and partners that are now going live with our conversational AI or chatbot. And I do see, some criticism always, right, coming from our Twitter space and other social, that we're just another chatbot. What we view it very differently. We view our relationship with our partners where the chatbot is an entry point into that particular partnership. And we're able to establish a great working relationship, and they're all looking at AI strategically across the board, right? So it's not just a chatbot for fan engagement, but think about what will be sort of the next opportunity for that. What about how do you incentivize fan engagement? How do you then take that context of somebody who's interested in a particular seat or buying a particular ticket to the next event, or maybe they're at the event and maybe they want to find the closest seat to or where the local the drinks or where the bar is to get a drink, and what if they could do that right through what if in esports they are looking for the latest and greatest merch that's that they've been waiting for. And so all those components, whether it's a fan engagement type of interaction, like a simple quiz or survey, right? If you get the answer right to a simple survey within the chat itself, should you be rewarded with something? Or when you purchase that $50 sweatshirt, should you be rewarded with something? That's all liquidity mining to some extent. It's a reward, something very similar to what we've done on ThetaDrop as sort of an NFT marketplace. So we're really looking at how can we design or redesign and look at rebrand TDrop to serve as sort of this fuel, no pun intended, as sort of this additional reward mechanism. And then also in the future, if we look at having multiple clubs and partners within, say, MLS or an NBA or NFL, then at that point, if you're earning these tokens, can you at that point exchange them for merchandise or exchange that for other teams or for signed jerseys and all sorts of VIP tickets, all sorts of things like that, and bringing them together. And so we really see an opportunity, and I think that will take a little bit of time. But our hope is that we want to put that in place certainly before the end of the year, or it's definitely going to next year. And we potentially could see this as being really interesting component as we think about the World Cup in 2026.
Okay, so next question is about Edgecloud again. So do students using your computer power in their college know it is Theta? And they're engaged with our tech. So absolutely. So I can tell you that. So we are on communication with them, right, on a day-to-day basis, right. In some cases, if there are had any issues, they can have a direct line to us, right. So we'll exchange emails or even on Slack to discuss questions, right, and then how to resolve their issues. And in some cases, right, they even have some suggestion on how we can improve our product, right? So some of the UI element actually you guys see on the Edgecloud is actually suggested by some of our clients in Korea, university students, right? So maybe they're using some other product and they think that this layout makes more sense, right? It's more logical. They recommend it to us, and then we quickly implement that. So also on a daily basis, right? They're using this Edgecloud dashboard in order to launch new deployment, like launch new GPU node and stop them when they're not using it and things like that. So this interaction is on a day-to-day basis, right? And obviously, so with this interaction, they will know that it's a Theta Edgecloud, right? And they will see the Theta brand, up there.
Yeah, that's really important, given that at least on the academic side, I know a lot of the subsequent universities have signed on. It's because of direct referrals from other AI research teams or a professor they knew at another school, since there's so much cross-pollination in the academic world. So yeah, it is very important that they log in every day and see Theta Edgecloud, because then they know what to recommend when they're happy with the product. That's what they recommend to other teams. Yeah.
But the next question, I think This is a really a good question, an important question, which is, all these deals, whether it's university deals or sports partnerships, are they profitable or are they costing us money? Well, they're absolutely profitable. So the way that we typically engage with these customers is that we lead with our Edgecloud platform, and soon with the June 25th release with a hybrid platform, where we're very cost effective compared to their alternatives. And more importantly, we've heard this over and over again, that our platform is just much easier to use, that they can get up and running, launch the GPU, launch the training job, or launch the model inference through the API service that we just released very quickly. I mean, within an hour, within 10 minutes, they're up and running, and that's huge, absolutely huge for them. And in all those cases, they pay for our platform. So we license our platform to the sports teams, right? And it varies based on a number of different parameters, but they're in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, right, in many cases. Now, what makes it a win-win partnership is that in many of those cases, you'll see our branding, Theta Network, being in the stadium, right, in real life, and being online, in digital form. And so we do sponsor in reverse. And to be honest, I think that's absolutely a win-win. The cost of our platform that they pay for, that effectively is what JE showed earlier. Effectively, that goes towards funneling and converting to TFuel to pay those jobs which are pushed to the Edgecloud nodes. And so essentially, it becomes a real interesting sort of circular sort of win-win, where they can then increase their spend over time, and then we can also increase our support and get more branding and more visibility. So we see that as a really great partnership there.
Yeah, and the hybrid release of Edgecloud is only going to improve the economics for these partners as well, because they have access to more TPU, and in this case, now the services they're paying for is going directly to edge node operators. So it's really going to bring full circle how this system is supposed to work once this goes live.
And a related question from another community member: what happened to partners like Lionsgate or CAA, et cetera? Are they still open dialogue with these companies? And the answer is absolutely yes. With CAA, for example, as you guys know, they're continuing to be a strategic validator, but they also represent a number of sports celebrities at the individual sort of player level, right? And they have a number of other sports partnerships. And so as we continue to forge partnerships with the teams or the clubs themselves, which is where we're seeing a lot of success and a lot of inbound, there is a real opportunity as we move forward to engage with a partner like CAA or any of the other talent agencies to expand our reach and collaborate with them on specific talent. But generally speaking, media and entertainment companies like Lionsgate and other companies, they're all looking at AI strategically. That's not a surprise, right? And we're beginning to see that being look at NVIDIA and its continued success, and Apple and everybody is really leveraging AI, and of course Google with their announcements yesterday, as you guys saw with their new VO3 video generation, is just absolutely stunning and unbelievable, the types of things. And this is here to stay, and it's very strategic. So all the media and entertainment companies are really looking at how do they innovate, how do they easily leverage AI to be better at their products and services that they provide, and they need infrastructure to do that. And so with our relationship being in place, that's where we can come in and say, look, you can either use our service, right, at this particular cost, a fraction of the cost, because we have a network of 30,000 nodes, more than 30,000, and it's ready to go. And by the way, we provide sort of end-to-end sort of white glove service, consulting services, or you can go on your own and use an alternative, but it's much more costly, and it's all cloud-based solutions. And if any of you have ever looked at AWS interface, and by the way, AWS is a great partner. We're going to be launching something with them. I can't really talk about it. They're really excited about this one as well. But the alternative is, AWS, where it takes an hour, 30 minutes, just go through their menus, right? So it's that's where our competitive advantage is. And so we're very excited. All of the existing partners, all of our customers that we may not we may have worked with them in the past, we may not have brought them up recently, but rest assured that in those cases where there is an interest and we're engaging with them, those conversations are ongoing. So we hope to bring those to the table. And the final prepared question.
Yeah. This is somewhat related to the token decision, but a question was submitted about what does Theta Labs plan to do about TFuel inflation and the focus of the Edgecloud? How does that how does the TFuel burn mechanism work in that, since the use of, for example, Edgecloud services, besides the payments, doesn't have a burn mechanism? So a few things. There are still transactions for every edge node payment, so there is some burn associated with more nodes and more users. And of course, anyone who's running a node has transfers that burn TFuel, etc. But bigger picture, the TFuel inflation rate actually feels pretty stable, I think, relative to other to major chains, to the extent that there's always going to be a market comparison when people look at inflation rate of one versus another, just like there are in currencies and in the non-crypto world. You compare them to one another. It's all relative. TFuel inflation is roughly in line with Solana, which doesn't feel like it's been a big hindrance, just as one example. And what people may not know is that because TFuel inflation is fixed in the nominal sense, not at a rate, but the number of TFuel per year, I think it's 300 and something million, the rate is actually going down every year and will always every year. So of course, increased demand will increase the burn, and that is a good thing as adoption of the network grows over time. But it probably is in line and getting smaller over time. So I don't think there needs to be any changes necessarily right now to control inflation per se. The plan remains keep driving adoption, and that will over time burn more, but it feels relatively stable, I think, at this point.
Completes. We're right on time, exactly 4 o'clock. So if we don't take any live questions, we're done. But I think we will absolutely. And we have and this is, I think, the most fun part is sort of these live questions. And we're looking at YouTube live chat, and we'll just start randomly picking out some questions. Does Theta Labs hold Bitcoin? Yes, we absolutely do. So we're happy with Bitcoin being at 110. We'd be happier with Bitcoin at 200,000.
Yeah.
What else? Why not open the door to partnerships with Saudi clubs? Well, I can say that there's sort of 3 regions, roughly speaking, that we are very excited about in terms of professional football, professional soccer clubs and teams. The first is EU, of course. That's a big area for us. The second is, of course, US. That dovetails with our US listing, and we're going to continue to drive a lot of progress in US leagues, particularly the only other big US league that we haven't announced, not a secret, NFL. We are close to signing our first deal there, and we'll be announcing that in the coming months. And then the third region is the Saudi football club. Absolutely. We see a lot of opportunities, of course, in Saudi Arabia, but there's a lot of continued and growing interest in football clubs, both in Qatar and UAE. So very excited for us.
They don't necessarily have the reach today, but they definitely have the cash. So, much like Neymar, Ronaldo, it can be worthwhile to get the bag. I mean, if the deal involves a large investment and a purchase of tokens as well on their behalf, similar to some of these big player transfers, I could see the value there.
Well, you're right, Wes. I mean, I think we're seeing a lot of the value now in conversations because of such inbound interest. Is not just necessarily paying for a platform and services and leveraging our distributed edge nodes. and therefore paying our node operators, but also really beginning to have those strategic conversations with these teams and say, we would want you to have much more skin in the game. We want you as a team to come aboard as a validator node, because we want you to be able to support the governance and the overall growth and supporting our chain at the native level. And that's really exciting, because then that opens up a whole slew of opportunities that's much longer term, and potentially do much more with that. And that's where we're heading towards. So I think particularly with some of these larger club deals that we're looking at now, it's going to get a little bit more complex and take a little bit longer, but I think it's the right thing for us to do.
There's this question, AWS is listed as a partner, but how are you guys leveraging AWS Cloud, and how is this partnership working? So maybe I can start. So obviously it's very easy for us to launch a machine in AWS Cloud and then bring it to Edgecloud, right? But it's not but it's not the most exciting thing. The more exciting is be able to work with them on the cutting edge technologies, right? So yeah, I cannot disclose too much, but there's some very exciting collaboration going on, right? So
Jay's being like me now. He's so excited. You can see he's so excited.
Right.
And
so,
we've been working on this one for a couple of months now, almost 6 months. It is it's fascinating. I think the progress and the advancement that these traditional cloud providers like AWS, like Google, and others, where they are in some cases going directly to the silicon level, right, to GPU level. It's very exciting, and it's really not just NVIDIA anymore. I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of opportunities, a lot of growth coming from sort of these cloud providers, not just at the infrastructure level. They're now cutting all the way through to silicon and to the chip level, and we have some interesting things coming up there.
Yeah, let's see any other.
Oh, another question about Saudi clubs.
Okay.
That's good. New all-time high for Theta. Well, believe me, that's that's my number one goal. If we can get Theta back to $15, I think there's a number of pieces to that. Again, this is not financial advice, but of course we think about the token price much more so. I'm being a lot more transparent now than ever been before. You guys know before I never talk about price, but with the current administration, with a lot of the changes that's happening, I think I can be a bit more transparent. We from management and from our investor standpoint, our equity investors, token price is everything, and it is absolutely the key driver of our business. We do marketing. We try to time marketing, as you guys know. We've seen some cases where we've been able to, and it's extremely difficult to do that. And the reason we do that is that we want to maximize our marketing effectiveness. And is there a right time to list on U.S. exchanges? Absolutely. Is there a reason why we didn't list earlier? Of course, there are reasons why we did list. And so now that we're ready, we see a turning point. It would be very interesting if Bitcoin hits all-time high at 120 and going to 150 over the next few weeks or few months, because that's going to dovetail, I think, really well. And so absolutely. And so not just data, but TFuel and TDrop. And we're going to continue driving that to all-time high.
Any other MLS clubs? Soccer?
Our queue's pretty full, Jay. It's now going to July.
Yeah.
And right or wrong from a marketing standpoint, we don't typically like to announce two of the same league back to back, because you just get more bang for the buck if you do MLS and NBA and NFL, and so we want to be able to, and I think that's probably the best way to get the attention of new community members, bringing more attention to our token. We have a big Korea push. So right now, in the next few weeks, you'll see two more Korea announcements. And part of the reasons that we see some interesting things happening in the Korea market. There is a lot of speculation, certainly, but they are also providing we're seeing some spark that can become a spark in the market. And it's good that we have a really strong position there, really good partners, and that could serve as a catalyst for us. So that's what we're doubling down in South Korea over the next few weeks. But but in terms of MLS, I think we got at least one or a few there.
Awesome. What is groundbreaking about this GPU market? There are many competitors like Render, right? So what makes this different? So maybe I can get started. So and indeed, there's a lot of other providers, right? Render, and you might have heard about IO.net and things like that, right? So, but one unique aspect of this new release is that it's open networks, right? So anyone can download the software and then join the network. So from last time I checked with Render, still required me to fill out some form and waiting for approval, right? So not sure whether it's still the case, but at least this is when I checked last time. And on top of that, I think the focus might be different. So as you can see in our Edgecloud dashboard, right? So we have a stack of the product, right? So in different targeting different users, right? So we have to developers, we have this API inference tools. So to the developers, to the researchers, right? They can use the GPU nodes and clusters, right? And then also we also developing the chatbot and also in the future AI agent, right? So this also target a different market sector, right? And then also this from developers to end users, right? So this is all covered by Edgecloud. So this is kind of holistic solution, right? Holistic product we are bringing to the market. So I think that's different and easy to use, right? So I think this different than the offering from other projects.
And while we don't know exactly how many users these other platforms have, but what I can say is that I think our user base now, that's upwards of 30, 35 plus or minus customer and partners, and the number of usage and the amount of usage is increasing on a per partner basis, that we're probably one of the largest ones. And we're continuing to scale, right? I talked about this back in December, but it's always very, very challenging be able to balance that supply and demand on the GPU side of things. There's a question around, can we discuss a July unstake? Actually, that's a really good question, and it's a timely question because we're coming into almost June. What I will say is that we will be announcing another unstake sometime in the near future because of this particular U.S. exchange partner. We will be custodying some of our tokens with them as part of that partnership, which is actually very strategic because it means that they're building the infrastructure and the foundation to be able to stake against our validator nodes and be able to run their own validators. So we'll be announcing that. And then also potentially in conjunction or separate from that, we'll be announcing our upcoming unstake for the year, as we've always done in July. And that will be to really accelerate a lot of these other U.S. exchange listings, which we are queuing up. But also we are beginning to see, for instance, these other strategic partners that are going to be coming on, as validator partners I talked about before. A lot of these platforms and teams and clubs, they are not crypto savvy. And so in many cases, they may turn to us and say, can we OTC and purchase this many tokens? So we will absolutely utilize those tokens in that way and really to accelerate our growth. Because, very simply, it's that adoption which will drive our prices to $5 and $10 soon enough, hopefully. Again, not financial advice, but that's how we view all that. Trump validator? Yeah. We wouldn't be opposed to that.
All right. One more question. It looks like Theta isn't focusing on independent developers these days. The Theta educational portal was shut down, and there aren't many new menus available. We will be refocusing on this soon. I can say that actually we are keeping we are continue to keep our documentation site up up to date, right? So whenever we launch a new product, so we will also have the corresponding document live on the product site. On the documentation site, and then whenever we publish our Medium announcement, right? So we'll have a link to that. So if you are a developer interested in working building on top of Theta Edgecloud, so just refer to that site. And also we are continue to host a hackathon, right? So maybe Wes also have more information on that. So those are targeting small developers, right? And we are hoping that there will be more and more projects join this hackathon and really be able to build some kind of real product on top of Edgecloud.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that coming up, the Blockjam Hackathon, which is going to be in Berlin in person, the lead up to Theta EuroCon. So that'll be 40 slots for Theta developers that are being recruited right now throughout Europe and around the world. And for those of you who haven't seen it, really exciting part of this is the top handful of projects are also going to be part of an incubator that we're sponsoring with the Theta EuroCon team, where they'll be funded for 6 months following to continue working on the Theta projects that they're building. So yeah, it's going to be a bigger focus. We're definitely making the effort to bring more developers onto the platform, and because the question mentioned specifically the educational portal, yeah, that is actually something with Simon from Theta EuroCon that we're specific. He and I are working on to relaunch in the near future. So maybe under the same name or a different name, but the same principle of sort of a Theta Academy of teaching developers how to get on chain. We're going to be relaunching that in the lead up to this hackathon.
And by the way, Wes and I, right, we'll be there in Berlin.
Yeah. And a lot of folks I know are already planning making out the trip, even from the US. So it should be a great one.
Yeah, looking forward to that and meeting you guys, some of you in person there. Any plans to list TDrop and other major exchanges, especially up in Korea? Well, not just up in Korea. We would love TDrop to be listed on every major exchange. In order to do that, I think this rebrand and this new utility becomes really important. And we need to see increased volume. As you guys know, that many exchanges look at volume as a primary driver for listing. And I think that with some of the things that we're designing and we're planning, that becomes a real possibility. Again, no time frame there, but that's of course top of mind for us as well. Maybe we'll take another question or two. We're scrolling way up now. When TFuel all-time high? That's a good question. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen July 12th, guys. Let's see. You know I'm kidding, right? Okay, guys.
These things get clipped out of context.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Print that. It's a joke.
It's a joke. South America. The whole geography, geographic expansion, absolutely. We see other parts of Asia, Southeast Asia, South America. But take South America, if we go the way and we can execute on our strategy around football, soccer, and World Cup, of course, as you guys know, also I was born and raised in Brazil, so that is near and dear to my heart. Oh, thank you for saying that I'm actually funny. Really? You actually think I'm funny? Or you just think that the all-time high in July is funny? July 12th. Oh, there you go. Wallet update. I believe we are doing some sort of wallet update. I think that was something we had done. We pushed out an update on Android because there was some issues with the account, but I think that's already out. but I believe we are looking at some other updates there as well. I'm not that close with the latest on Levita partner, but last I heard that their mobile platform is soon to launch. So I think they are on track there. They've been absolutely terrific, and they continue to really drive the really bleeding edge of healthcare and AI and blockchain. So I'm continue to be really excited about what they're doing. And to be honest, also I think that they're probably one of the best funded companies out there. And certainly, Ali with his background and credentials, I think that they are here to stay and really execute in the long term. I think we take maybe one or two more questions. I think we're running almost an hour and a half. USD stablecoin on Theta Network. I don't know, Wes, if you want to comment on that. That's always been a possibility.
Yeah, and there's already a one bridge through Meter. It's just a question of how much demand and how much liquidity is put into it. So you can bridge it now and use it on Theta Swap. I think when there's a use case that demands a lot of it, you'll see just the more put through the bridge and more expanded. But it is in use today if you want to buy it on Theta Swap.
How did that message? Why is that message stuck on top? Oh, you put it up there. Face cream? Who's asking about face? Really? You guys think I'm actually like wearing some makeup or something? Well, you guys know, a lot of the K-pop and the K-drama, those actors, they wear shitloads of stuff on their face. No, I don't wear anything. I guess maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll look even younger when Theta's at $20.
That would be the best face cream.
That'll be the best face cream. Trust me. We have one singular goal is going to push Theta to fucking $20. That's our goal. Looking for more VC financing? No, the answer is no. Unless there's some strategic equity partner, I think that we're good. We're good on that front. You look like a supermodel. If I actually look like a supermodel, that wouldn't have to work and being blockchain. I'm sure being a supermodel is a bit less stressful than our job. Well, actually, maybe that's not true either. I won't assume anything. Okay, I think we're pretty much good on time. Thank you, everybody that joined us. I think it's going to be exciting. I think we did record. We got it recorded, guys. Yeah, got recorded. We'll get that posted sooner than later. I know in the past we've taken a little bit of time, but hopefully we'll get that up a little bit quicker. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for your questions.